Welcome to the Nashville Tribute Band Podcast, The Listening Room with Jason Deere. Coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee. Today's topic is...
We got an artist in the house. We got an artist in the house.
All right, so excited today to be talking to two of my good buddies, Ben and Chad Truman, brothers.
Yes.
They aren't twins, but they're how much age is between you guys?
3 years.
3 years. Okay. Got you. They got a brand new album out on Shadow Mountain Records, which is a Deseret Book record label. The album's called Quiet Revolution. They're on their second single right now. They have one out called Storm Before the Calm, and a new one out right now called Higher. And it's exciting. You guys having a good time?
Dude, yes. I mean, it's been so great to have songs actually get out there after all the work that, I mean, obviously we've been through these trenches together many, many times. It's just so great to finally be at the point where people can hear it. So, yeah.
I bet. And I mean, I've seen some of the reactions of people. They're just so excited to hear this. You guys have been making music for a long time and been in music and in other groups and stuff like that. And of course, Truman Brothers has been around for, I mean, when did you guys officially start performing as Truman Brothers? In college?
Quite a while. Right? Yeah. Back in 2005, 2006 is when we just got started just for the fun of it at college. And we did our thing for a few years there and took it back to Nashville. And now we're back in Utah. I mean, we just, it won't die.
Well, that's because you're breathing. That's why. But you guys wrote all these songs yourself. You guys made this record yourself. I mean, you had a producer. What's the producer's name that worked on it?
We worked with a guy named Nate Pfeiffer, who's really a big, cool guy out here in Utah. And he really helped kind of bring home the sound that we were looking for. So, yeah. Awesome.
And then, but this is even though you put out music and some singles and some EPs, this is your first full-length album as Truman Brothers. Is that correct?
This is going to be an EP, actually.
It is? Okay. Have you put out an EP before, or is this your...
Yeah, we've done some EPs over the years.
Dukes of Delmont, which I love.
Yeah. No, we say album because no one knows what an EP is anymore.
Yeah, right. It's all the same. They're all gathered in the herd of songs, anyway.
Right.
Well, you guys have been around music your whole life. I have the privilege of knowing both your mom and your dad pretty darn well and for a long, long time. But your mom and dad are both steeped in music. And what have you learned from your parents and through living through music through them over the years?
Jeez. I think the list is long. First thing that comes to my head is my mom saying, because I wanted to get better at singing when I was 9. And she was like, you know what I used to do when I was a kid? I would record myself on a tape recorder and then I'd listen back to see how actually good I was. And like little moments like that, they happened often. And then that turned into when I was 12, like, Dad, like, how do I learn how to play this song? And then how do I learn to play this Earth, Wind and Fire song? And how do I, and then Dad would give me 5-second lessons is what I call them. On the piano, but like stuff like that that's what first kind of jumps out to me. Ben?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was completely about instilling a love for music and a kind of particular brand of music. And that was songs that just penetrated and spoke right to the heart. Whatever genre they were, my dad and mom both had such a huge appreciation for just classic songs, whether that meant they were old or that they were brand new, but because they spoke to the soul, they were instant classics, if you know what I mean. So I would just be driving around all the time with my dad, and he'd be playing Stevie Wonder and Chicago and Earth, Wind and Fire. And we just soaked up so much music, and all of that is in there, right? Banging around, and helps us kind of do what we do, just thankful for my dad to this day. This is always, the Nashville saying, it all starts with the song. There's just something really special about 3.5 minutes when the magic works just right. And that reaching for that and desiring that is a big part of my motivation and inspiration.
When you guys were young, your bonus room over your garage was really only had one purpose, and that was the Saturday night music yeehaws where your parents would just invite anybody and everybody. There was some great stuff in there, and there was some terrible stuff, and I was probably part of all of it. But that surely, I mean, the love for music was evident, in the walls of your house. So I got to witness a little bit of that myself. Tell me about really quick. I think people will be interested in the process of how you guys, you got signed to Deseret Book, and you when you get signed to a record label, you're saying the first thing you're saying is, okay, what are we going to say? What is it that we want to say here? How are we going to do? Tell us about the process of how this album came to be.
It was an interesting thing, right? Because the bulk of the writing and recording of this music happened in 2020, and we know all about what that year gave. And I think a big part of it for me was putting into words things that have always been true, right? Trial, doubt, and then on the other side of that, hope and overcoming. And 2020 kind of helped bring that to a head for everybody and made that not taboo to talk about and to really address. So swimming in that, all that was going on last year really helped create these songs, but we did it in a way that they'll apply forever, right? Because trial and doubt and hope should always be themes in our lives, but they were definitely forged in the iron, of 2020.
That's cool. And that's, so the timing just kind of gave you an opportunity to have that voice when you had something that you were forced to be passionate about, whether you wanted to be or not, Right.
It was obviously nice because, we were, a lot of us forced just to stay home, right? Well, what are we going to do now? We weren't doing shows with Nashville Tribute Band and we weren't doing other stuff. And we said, well, let's write these songs. And we just dug into the trenches and sat in these, I think about the Beach Boys song in my room a lot because that's where it was. That's where it went down. It's just wrestling. And of course, last year on top of kind of the general global trial that everyone had, we lost our Aunt Rhonda to her battle to cancer. Seeing our family and her immediate family, her daughters and her husband, all that going through that range of emotions also was a big driver in how we approached the themes on this album.
You guys have been a part of Nashville Tribute Band for a really long time now, and you've been through that process that the Nashville Tribute Band goes through to, we dig in when we have a subject matter and we would dig in and try to find the best way to say those things, to play those things, and et cetera. How is this process as two brothers different than six brothers of the Nashville Tribute Band making a record? I mean, I'm sure the process is completely different. The music's completely different, but tell me about what was different.
I would say it's very similar, right? Because you're still going for the same end goal, right? Something that moves you and hopefully will move other people. I guess it might be a little bit more pressure, Jay. There's less guys to kind of deliver the goods. And so you're kind of sitting on your shoulders like, all right, let's go, let's bring it. And we wanted to make sure we told something that was sincere and coming from a real place. You got to get a little vulnerable and you got to really kind of put in the time to unearth that within you, So there was a little bit of that, and but it also made the process, that much more rewarding to kind of go through the grindstone like that.
Chad, did you guys have moments that you got stuck and that you're like calling up Ben going, man, I don't know what to do here? And did you have moments that you got stuck in the process? Because you made it pretty fast.
Yeah. Luckily, there was definitely times where Ben would call me and be like, hey, dude, that fourth song we were trying to get? Well, I just wrote it last night. And he just had the moment in whether just, waking up, going, in the shower, whatever it is, it just hit him. And then he has a little voice memo with water running in the background, like, oh, do. And that's, sometimes that would happen. And I'm like, all right, sweet, check. Other times we knew there would need to be more of a musical moment, which is typically where I would lead out. And sometimes we're like, let's just kind of do a placeholder here. We know we need to fill it with something. And so I would come up with what we have as the best option. And then once we got with Nate Pfeiffer, it was nice to have a third party, fresh ears, who's not, we haven't known him for 15 years. We know each other and worked with each other for 15 years. So that was nice to kind of then have a little bit of curveball at the end to help finish some songs.
Yeah, that's when a producer becomes valuable, I think, is to bounce off and that's cool that you had that relationship. And I think you can hear it in the music that worked. So, Ben, favorite song on the project, and that might be a moving target, but do you have one?
I'll give two answers if that's okay. The heart of the album is definitely Before the Calm, which was our first single. That's where the faith and the belief of everything we're doing here is most present, and hopefully is the most kind of able to help other people as they're going through what they're going through. From a musical perspective, and also the theme of it, Quiet Revolution, which is the title track, is quite the fun tune. It's kind of an upbeat pop kind of rock deal. It kind of speaks to, a world where there's obviously a lot going weird, a lot going wrong, and there's a lot of emphasis on needing to change the world. we need to improve the world. And sometimes I think we miss the mark a little bit on how we approach doing that. We try to make everyone do a certain thing, and then it would be much better if we worked in our homes and in our communities to help serve and show, be a light and example on how to do it. We would find that would ripple in a way that would be way more productive than telling everyone on social media how they should think and feel. And that's kind of what that song's about. It's called Quiet Revolution, and it's about quietly going about doing this great work. So.
And Chad, do you have a favorite? And second, was there a sleeper? There's always a sleeper on the album. One that you think is, it's okay. We're putting that on there. Not sure. And then there's always one that just sneaks up on you and like in the process of making it like, dang,
For sure. Quiet Revolution is definitely, has always kind of had my heart. We initially wrote it with our good friend Raquel out in Nashville a few years ago, and got it reworked for this project. And the whole tune, and I'm just so excited for people to hear it. I try to, as much as I can, when we're done and out of the audio phase, try to put the listener hat on, and I feel like as a listener it's really enjoyable. So hopefully people feel that way. And then Sleeper, I think for me, there's again, luckily, I don't think it's a bad thing to like your own music. And so I like all the tunes, but I do think Beggars became like, it kind of worked up the ranks, and it probably would be my sleeper favorite. It got developed a little help from Nate Pfeiffer with his input, and Ben came up with a great tune. Yeah.
Cool. Well, albums become, like in my experience, they become moments in time, moments in your life. What do you want your posterity, your kids, your grandkids, what do you want them to know about this moment that you made this record?
I think about that all the time. I think about my kids all the time through this process, and I don't know why. I think they're kind of a North Star for what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. In a way, if no one else cared about this music, it's at least an encapsulated testimony of what inspired their dad at this time in his life. And that means something to me in a big way. The kids just listen to me working on stuff. They've been humming and singing the tunes around the house. And I'm like, I'm happy, like that's that, because it's something is translating from in here to somewhere else. And it's translating at least to the people I care about most. And so I'm thankful for the opportunity to make music. I'm not a journal writer, really, a journal keeper, but writing these tunes and getting to record them, you're creating something that will not go away unless you're very careless and lose your MP3 folder. But I'm looking forward to having that be something that is, we look at MP3s or that we find in the computer of Grandpa Delmont singing "Let There Be Peace on Earth." And there's such power in turning back and looking at what people did in your line of history and ancestry that made you who you are today. And you feel it and you connect with it. And I think music will do that in a big way.
And it will align with a year that in history will be notable as that weird year, Right. I mean, that will definitely be a kind of a watermark on in the chronology of our lives, to look back and go, wow, that was definitely forged in that moment, and be able to tie current events in the newspaper to these songs. All right, Chad, I got one for you. I'm a fan of the English rock band Oasis, and you got two brothers in that band. And if you've seen that documentary on those guys, they want to kill each other about half the time. So I know you guys both. You guys are both the same in a few ways, and you're mega different in a lot of ways. And when it comes down to making music, that's when things can get really raw. Why do you guys get along making music?
I think it's really fun to find someone that in any kind of like business partnership, or even in a marriage, I guess, to find someone that offers something that you don't. I'll never forget the moment Ben got back from his mission. He had this melody that he had come up with, and I had written a few songs myself, but chords was my world. And so Ben was like, dude, da 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 da. And I'm like, all right, well, you're in this key of C sharp minor. Here we go. Let me just do this. Okay, how about this? And he's like, I like that. Okay, no, actually, I'm thinking a little bit more major. Okay. And as soon as we started doing that, it was just a natural thing where we both could offer something, and suddenly there was done songs, And then at college, people liked hearing those songs, right? So I think that's the main thing why I put up with him,
But is it fair to say that you performing those songs, once you started that collaboration thing and you saw people's reaction, that made it, oh, wow, what we're doing is worth it. Let's keep doing this.
For sure.
Yeah.
And for years there was much, I honestly, this is one of my biggest things I like to portray to, I guess, anyone young, starting with music, but also just starting anything, trying to work with people. We went through many years figuring out how to even do that well, Finally, at a certain point became the point where it's like, oh, we're both kind of the same age, because getting through our 20s was kind of tough when there is an age gap when you're working with family and siblings and stuff. But it has been nice now being more or less like, dude, I know what you bring to the table. You know what I bring to the table. We've done this over and over, but it takes a lot of hard work, maybe a lot of hard conversations to get there.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Jason, we've been through this a million times together as well. There's like this 1-2 punch of what you need when you're being creative. You need to, in the room you're in with the people you're working with, be inspired. You need to be feeling it. And luckily, Chad and I often like a melody or a chord combination or an idea with a lyric suddenly will inspire both of us at the same time. And I think that's because we have a deep love for certain types of musics, you know, that again isn't defined by genre, but just is defined by actually moving the needle in certain ways. Mm-hmm. And for us, it goes the same way. And so when you have that moment, which we do often when we're working together, that's where that collaboration really takes off, because like Chad said, we do offer different things, but when we're both motivated by the same thing, it's killer. So that's step one. And then step two, kind of like you said, you kind of need to see when you go out there and you perform, you need to see other people's face lights up. Like, is this translated? Did this get out of that room and get into the stage, or did it get into the stereos and did it work? And so it's, that step one definitely worked for us on this project. And we're excited to see if step two works as it comes out.
Well, that's cool. Are you guys are now Truman Brothers. You've been Truman Brothers, but you got this new project out. Are you still in the Nashville Tribute Band?
Yes, sir, baby.
Oh, well, maybe you should ask me that question. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, that's the beautiful thing. Just so everybody that doesn't know out there about the Nashville Tribute Band is that everybody does other things. I mean, Dan Truman's in Diamond Rio still. Tim and Brad have both performed as duets. Tim performs with the Bryce Canyon Wranglers. Chad has performed with the Bryce Canyon Wranglers. And Chad performs with the Johnson Files. Everybody does. We just love music and we do things. But Nashville Tribute Band is something that we come back to when we do that, and we're never going to stop that, hopefully. And I love that. But I love that you guys have made this album. It excites me. New album is out on Shadow Mountain Records on the Deseret Book label, and it's called Quiet Revolution. First single was Before the Calm. Is that right?
Yep.
Second one is Higher, and you're going to keep. And when the EP actually drops, what day?
Friday. So Thursday night at awesome. Midnight Eastern. So wherever you're at, it will be out, and we're excited to get it out there. And then we're going to be working on music videos and other stuff to keep on getting ways to get it out there. But just feel free to follow us online, and we're excited to share it with you.
Cool. And this online concert series that Deseret Book is putting out called The Sessions this year. You guys are performing on that. When does that air for Truman Brothers?
April 9th, I believe. Yeah, a lot going on right now.
Yeah, I guess so. Golly. Well, very awesome. Well, super excited for you guys and proud of you. I'm kind of somewhat like a older brother, maybe in some ways to you guys, and hopefully just a friend, but great to see you guys blossom and to have, the synergy of brothers just make music that really matters to you guys and that matters to your audience that people are going to love. I know. So go out and get it, everybody.
Yeah. And Jason, before we hang up, I mean, we got to say for sure, like us, because we've spent like 6-ish years in Nashville, mainly touring with you boys. And, I call it my internship to the music industry, really, because we just learned so much on the road and all that kind of stuff. There's, lots of stories, lots of things being learned and all that kind of stuff. But if anything, big thank you to the Nashville Tribute Band for having us and teaching us.
Wow. Well,
Amen.
It's a pleasure. You guys were children, literally, when the Nashville Tribute Band started. So I'll tell you, I'm a little older than you guys. But Ben was on his mission when the first music was made, I think. So but you guys have been, now that I look back at stuff, since 2010, right? I mean, we're talking 11 years you guys have been in the band, right?
Yeah, we first, Chad, of course, was the narrator for Joseph on the first Joseph album, and I remember coming in right off my mission. We did background vocals with some friends for Trek. And that was just an honor to even just be in the studio with you guys. And then when the work came out, we had the privilege of writing a song with you that ended up on that album, In a Letter Home. And ever since, we've been a part of what's going on, and we're just so thankful for it.
And Ben, did I hear you say that the first tour was China? Was that the first time you were on the road with us?
Yeah, I think we did a couple one-offs to like Vernal or something like that. But then, the first kind of like mega, hey, here we go. It was out to China and
Hong Kong. Yeah.
Yeah, what a trip that was.
Right. Yeah. Next thing you know, you're hanging your head over into Mongolia. It's so. But anyway, well, super exciting. You guys keep doing great stuff. Thanks for hanging out for a minute.
Dude, Jason, you're awesome. Thank you, man.
Hey,
Look forward to seeing you soon.
Have a great one. Bye, everybody.
Please subscribe to our podcast, Nashville Tribute Band Listening Room, and please share us with your friends. Tell them about our Instagram, our podcast, and of course, our music. And please visit us on our Facebook page, Nashville Tribute Band, and hit that like button. And please take the opportunity to visit our store at NashvilleTributeBand.com for music and merchandise. We'll see you next week. Be good and do good things.